Hello, and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast, where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. This is episode 31, and I am your host, Joanne Close. All right, so one of the most common questions I get is how many hours do I actually need to study for WSET level 3? So we're going to talk about that today so you can have an idea of how you need to plan. So first, we're going to back up a little bit and talk about all three levels, 1, 2, and 3, and what the WSET suggests. So this is all in the specifications for each level. And we're going to start with level 1, as we like to do. They break it up into what's called total qualification time, or TQT. TQT, which is difficult to say, for level 1 is 6 hours. And for those of you who have taken level 1, you're thinking, well, that's how long the class is. And you're right. So they are saying that private study, non-required, okay? That everything you need to know, you'll pretty much learn in class. Okay, so I think this is pretty much true. I recommend that folks look over the textbook, and I use the word textbook lightly because it's more like a glorified pamphlet, really. It's got some information in there, but the way that Nancy and I teach our level 1 is that we really touch upon all the information in class itself. There's a few things that are pure memorization. It's like service temperatures and food and wine pairing. So depending on your familiarity with wine in general, you may be just fine sitting in and not doing any prep at all. If you are new to wine, I would recommend putting in a couple of hours. We have our free flashcards, right? Other folks have flashcards just to review before you come into class. But no serious heavy lifting there. Level 2, looking at the total qualification time, is 28 hours. And their guiding learning hours is 17, and that includes the 1-hour exam. So that leaves 11 hours of suggested private study time. If you break that up, because level 2 is 8 sessions, that's roughly, and I'm, rounding up or rounding down here, roughly an hour and a half of study per session. Again, this is multiple choice, so I feel like ballpark number, this is a fair number. If you dedicate at least 1.5 hours per session for studying for this, you should do pretty well. Okay, and then we move on to level 3. Their suggested total qualification time is 84 hours. You have your 15 2-hour sessions, so that's guided learning hours of 30 classroom time. Subtracting that, you're left with 54 hours of suggested private study. And breaking that up into 15 sessions, that's 3.5 hours roughly per session. I think that this number is too low. I think it's really too low. I think realistically, in order to pass, you probably needed to dedicate at least 100 hours to study. So that's 6.5 hours dedicated to each session. But if you're going for distinction, I'm thinking you need to be around 200 hours of study. So that's 13 hours per session. Now, a lot of this depends on where you are with your knowledge in general, how much of that level 2 information you retained. So if it's been a minute since you've taken level 2, you're going to need to refresh yourself on all of that information, and that's going to compound your study time. Also, whether or not you are in the industry, if you've taken other wine classes before, your overall general wine knowledge, your base wine knowledge. If you're starting with some knowledge, that'll help you cut down on your overall study time. Also, some of you are just good test takers, okay? I see you in class. I see your binders, and I see you organizing the material, and you enjoy it. I mean, some people really have a skill for test taking, and you will be able to cut down on your study time purely because of how you are organized and your test-taking skills. Well, that's a big number. You're like, wow, Joanne, 200 hours, that's great. How am I going to manage that? Well, you've got to have a plan in place. You need to reverse engineer your timeline. Remember, this is a long course. If you're taking the 15-week, I call it the slow boat course, and there's going to be holidays in between there, you're going to have time within the course itself to study. But of course, I recommend you need to start studying well before you set foot in the exam. So you can break your studying up into 3 phases. Phase 1, that's the reading and review. So remember all that level 2 material you needed to learn and just getting familiar with the textbook in general. Then there is the focus studying. So this is flashcards, practice essays. This is where your study group comes into play. This is the real nitty-gritty of actually learning and applying this information. And then there's phase 3. So that's the review, the mock tests and quizzes and things like that. So you need to take all of this information and all the hours that you're going to commit towards studying and reverse engineer it. And this is something that we work on in the Launchpad, the level 3 prep course, is we help you build a study calendar so you know realistically where your studying is going to lie in your calendar. And so you won't get to like session 6 in the course and throw your hands up and say, how can I ever catch up? How can I ever attempt to sit this exam this go round? I have so much work to do. So when I took the ETP in London, like over 5 years ago, one of my professors I thought was really harsh. And I thought she was kind of scary in some ways. I'm like, she is harsh. But over the years, I have to say, I have come to really appreciate this educator, and I try to channel her a little bit. The first couple of days, the first class, I'm not really trying to be mean. I'm trying to be motivating, okay? This is a big course, and it requires a lot of time from you on your own studying. And I hope that I am motivating you a bit. Okay, so wrapping up that. And then next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the importance of a long runway. So I'll see you on Thursday.